Marco's Pizza on the bypass in Troy, of course, located in the Publix Plaza shopping center, and of course, Marco's one of our fine sponsors. Of course, also Troy Regional Medical Center. Want to say hello to Karen and all the great folks there that make up one of the great local banks. Local hospitals you'll find anywhere in this country, and of course, we're proud of Troy Regional Medical Center and the amenities that it brings in town as far as medical facilities and good doctors, and we're very fortunate to have what we have. SARA, the Southeast Alabama Rural Health Association, and saw John Little this weekend, my good friend, and of course they have a great program out there where you can see a doctor without an appointment from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, 5 days a week, from 8 to 5 on Saturday, and from 1 to 5 on Sundays. SARA on the Elba Enterprise Highway in Troy, and of course want to mention also brand new sponsors, BT and BB&T, and of course we appreciate BB&T being on our show, and of course looking for great rates on your mortgage or on your automobile, or they have a loan office there that is ready to do business with you at BB&T on the bypass right here in Troy. Want to mention also our good friends at Piggly Wiggly. I was at Piggly Wiggly in Birmingham this weekend, and there was probably 10 people ahead of me in all 3 or 4 lines. I mean, it's one of the Piggly Wiggly is one of the favorite grocery stores in Birmingham, and they do a great job, and we've got 2 of them located right here in Troy, one on North 3 Night Street, and the other is located in the Marketplace Shopping Center right here in Troy, and we appreciate the folks at Piggly Wiggly being a big part of this show every week. Of course, I'm going to buy me a couple of big T-bones this week. I bought some there the other day, and I said I want a big thick T-bone, but I want a big there's a strip part, and then there is a fillet part. I want a big fillet on it, and man, gosh, there's nothing like a big fillet and a big strip that on a T-bone steak. If you can get a good one, you can't beat a better steak than a T-bone. Want to mention also we got a big basketball game tonight out at Troy University when the Trojans of Troy do battle with Appalachian State, and that is Dollar Night, where everybody gets in for $1. And how about this? Hot dogs for $1, popcorn for $1. There's going to be a lot of dollar items going on at the Trojan Arena tonight, and both games will be played. The women will play at 5 o'clock, and the men will play at 7:15. This weekend, both of them lost heartbreakers. The women fought back from behind to go ahead of Coastal Carolina 88-84 late in the game, but ended up losing. I think that final score was 97-93. So the women lost the first game of the doubleheader on Saturday, and then the men came back and blew a 14-point lead and lost in a heartbreaker by 1 point to Coastal Carolina, a team that it normally is good, but had not won a game in 7 outings. But they beat Troy, come from behind to beat Troy, and of course they're coached by a guy that has been around basketball for quite a while. In fact, when I was looking at the records, of college basketball coaches, I was looking around for the head coach at Coastal Carolina, and I said, he had been around a long time. I said, I wonder how many games he has won and how many games that he lost. And, you know, he'll go down, no question about it, as being one of the winningest coaches of all time. And we don't think that much about him. I was looking for that stat that about the game that I was trying to pick up, and now I can't even find it. I'm thumbing through, and I can't even find what I'm looking for. So, well, I'm gonna find it in a second. I promise you, I'm gonna find it in a second, but I haven't found it yet, so I might not find it in a second. But Troy loses a heartbreaker to Coach Phil Cunningham. I know had to really bite his tongue a little bit when he was talking to his players, because they just played completely opposite in the second half of how well they played in the first half. In fact, Troy blew a 14-point lead and loses that game by a point. Good morning. How you doing?
Mike Amos, Bud, Luverne.
Bud from Luverne. Bud, I tell you, I reckon you've been wondering where I was, man.
I knew where you were.
Well, all right, okay, good. I'm glad. I had to do some duties that were very pleasant to me, and that was go visit my grandkids, and I had a couple of mix that in with the doctor's appointment. So I was in Birmingham for about 4 days.
Well, I figured that, and the ice and the snow and being off there.
Oh yeah, that's right, buddy. And I bet you enjoyed that, didn't you?
Somewhat. It's nice to see, but it gets messy after it starts to melt and freezes over that night, and a lot of treacherous travel on the roads.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You're right.
But listen, I want to run something by you just a few minutes, and
yeah, do.
I want to ask you a question. Do you think, I cannot think of the guy's name, the coach's name at Troy in basketball, do you think this will be his last season?
I don't know. Coach Cunningham, you know, at the end of the season last year, you know, he was on, they put him on cloud nine, you know, because he won the conference championship and sent Troy back to the NCAA championships for only the second time ever. That was a real good
yeah, but they went on a late season run there and won several conference games and several games and done well in the tournament to get there. But you know, middle of the season they were at the point like they are now, and they were rumored talk even during the middle of the season last year, if they hadn't have done as well as they did, to putting him on the street. And you know how talk is.
Oh yeah, no question about it. Hey, listen, I was having trouble with what's the former Auburn coach that coaches now at Coastal Carolina?
Oh, well, I cannot think of his.
Well, you know,
his college ball at North Carolina.
Well, and I don't know if he played his college. I think he played his college ball at Chipola, I believe, and then he might have transferred to a smaller school. But I mean, he's a well-known coach, and I've got it here, and. I know it's where he's won over 800 games. You know, that's been around for a while, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I was just wondering, how long he's going to be there, because Coach Don Maestri and that group back in the day had really done a good job coaching and had several nice seasons there. And I was just wondering how long he would be there if they don't continue, if they don't improve any. Of course, now. You know, the big man's hurt, and Person can't carry it on his own. But Troy's athletic program in basketball should be better, in my opinion, than what it is.
The guy that coaches at Coastal Carolina is a very well-known name, Cliff Ellis. Coached at Auburn, and he coached at
exactly right.
South Alabama, and he coached at numerous places, and was having a terrible year. In fact, they had lost 7 in a row. Did you know that?
I did not. Talking about Cliff Ellis, he was at South Alabama in the mid to late 80s and played Alabama in the first round of an NCAA tournament.
I was there.
Sanderson was there and upset Alabama over in Atlanta in the first round back in the late 80s.
Hey, I was there, and I could not believe it. Alabama blew a 18-point lead in that game.
Let me tell you somebody right now who is playing good ball. And that's Alabama, and Avery Johnson's got those kids right now on a 4-game winning streak. Of course, it's easy to go on a winning streak when you play 3 of those games at home. But since that blowout against Georgia, they've come back and had some nice victories, and the RPI rating, which most of the folks look at more than the regular season poll, Bama's ranked at not like number 23 in the RPI. So, and they're talking about maybe 7, 8 teams in the conference.
And
going
see
to
that,
the Big Dance.
and the last 2 games they've won, their top player has not played, like you said, and once he gets back, they're playing pretty good. But you know what? Somebody told me though this weekend, and said, hey, maybe they don't need him back. Basketball, Bud. Chemistry has a lot to do with basketball. How players play with each other.
That's one thing. That's right. That's one thing we talked about in past shows about Coach Pearl in Auburn.
That's right.
Trouble they've had with the 2 kids not being able to play. He's had a mentality of us against the world, and it's come across at Auburn and really done well. But listen, we've had a couple of kids step up in the 4 games. John Petty in that game against Auburn was playing lights out. So he really had a good game. But, they go on the road this Tuesday night to Oxford and play Ole Miss.
Yeah, it's hard to win on the road. And, that's what's so disturbing about Troy more than anything. And I love Coach Cunningham. I really do. He's a great guy. And I like his staff. I like everything about his program. But he doesn't win. He has a hard time winning at home, and you've got to win at home in this league.
Absolutely.
That's the same way with the SEC and all of them. Whoever can win the games they're supposed to win at home are going to have a chance.
Yes, you can win most of your games at home and grab 3 or 4 on the road.
That's right, and steal a few. Like Coastal Carolina, they steal a few. I'm coming out of this vest, I tell you.
Go ahead. There's been, since you and I talked, there've been some good changes. They hired Shane Watson as the new head football coach at Faulkner University.
And I'll tell you something right now, and it would tickle me to know he was watching this morning. He is one of the best people that's ever coached at Troy. I just love that guy. Shane Watson, I've known him since he was a kid. Hey, he's raised by one of the top coaches and top people. Bobby Watson, his daddy was a legend.
And a legend, you're right.
And let me tell you, every program he's ever been around, talking about Shane Watson, they've won.
Yeah.
When he played at Auburn, they won. When he coached at Troy, they won. When he coached at Eufaula, they won. The Op, they won. Georgiana, they won. If he's associated with it, they're going to win because he's going to do things the right way.
Exactly. And another big hire for Troy this past week was Brian Blackman coming from Auburn University to take the OC job, I think, at Troy this past week. And
let me tell you a little background on him. His family comes out of Greenville.
Right.
They're originally from Greenville, and of course I've known him for years. And his brother is the outstanding young coach at down in Mobile at Spanish Fort is one of the top high school coaches. Both of them played at the one of them played at Troy, and one of them I think was sort of a student teacher. But let me tell you where they got their start, Bud. I'm gonna catch you on this one. I think. Where did they get their start? It wasn't in football. What did they do at one time?
You have got me on this one. If I'm going to say, it had to be probably in baseball.
No, let me tell you what they did. They ran a cafe in Troy. They ran a cafe that later on became the Half Shell.
Okay.
All right. Those 2 boys started a cafe here, and then they got out of the cafe business. One of them started playing football for Troy, but that cafe eventually became the Half Shell.
And listen, you can't find a better seafood place than the Half Shell
in
South Alabama.
I mean, and I'm gonna tell you, I was eating at some of the restaurants in Birmingham this weekend, and of course there's some good ones, I'm sure, and I enjoyed some good ones. But something that I've never had anything bad to eat at the Half Shell.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everything they serve is good.
Coach Blackman at Spanish Fort married a local girl from Highland Home.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. Now, he's a Troy graduate, isn't that right?
Right. And that's where he met her at, was when they were both at Troy University. Absolutely.
And I
right.
want to say, now he's coached a few places, but didn't he coach at Robert E. Lee at one time with our buddy over at Robert? No, or was he with him at Opelika? Talking about.
Talking about Brian Blackman?
No, I'm talking about the former Robert E. Lee coach and former Opelika coach at
Spence McCracken.
Spence McCracken. See, didn't he learn a lot of his football from Spence McCracken?
He played for Spence in the early '90s when they won a championship in '91.
Okay.
And he went with him to Opelika, and then when Coach McCracken retired, Coach Blackman took the program over at Opelika. He was
That's
the
right.
OC over there for like 13 years under Coach McCracken.
And McCracken's one of the best high school coaches in the history of this state. Jimmy Perry, as good as Jimmy Perry is, he learned from Spence McCracken. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And Coach McCracken is a fine individual.
And you know who Coach McCracken learned from? He learned from Tom Jones and some of those guys at Robert E. Lee High School.
Exactly right. And I'm going to say this. I got to know Spence McCracken, and I'm going to throw out another name in high school football. I got to know Coach McCracken real well when we would play Montgomery Academy. Highland Home and Montgomery Academy used to have great.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
A great relationship. And Coach McCracken was coaching there, and then an assistant of his, which was another great man, John Tatum.
Johnny Tatum, he and I played at Troy together, and we're very good friends.
Johnny Tatum was one fine individual, and there wasn't a time that we were not received well at Montgomery Academy and those two coaches.
That's right, yeah.
You know, when you're around a program and you have those type relationships with other schools, it has a lasting effect on you.
It's a five-letter word, Bud, called class.
Absolutely.
You know, how many times you heard Coach Bryant say class?
That's exactly. Win, lose, or draw.
When that old coach from Nebraska said, "Tell the son of a buck," and he's calling Coach Bryant this now. He said, "Tell the son of a buck not to duck us." Do you know what he was talking about? Do you know what he was talking about when he said that?
Tom Osborne, back in the day, Coach Bryant lined up the polls. he lined up teams, and he had
Bud,
a lot
you
of
know too
influence
much for your age, man. Okay.
Alabama went and played Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl.
That's right.
And Nebraska thought that they should have been in the Sugar Bowl to play Alabama.
That's right. And he went out on the press and says, "Tell the son of a buck not to duck us." You know what Coach Bryant's reply was?
I cannot remember.
He said, "Don't worry about him. He hasn't been wearing his spurs very regularly."
That's exactly right.
Talking about those spurs, he said he hadn't been wearing his spurs regularly. That was his response.
I'm going to throw something else at you. We talk about all the defections at Alabama, the underclassmen going pro, and we haven't mentioned this, and it hasn't been in the press that much. But I'm going to tell you a key loss in Alabama this year that we're going to have to search hard and long for is the punter, Scott.
He was good.
He announced his early departure to go to the pros.
I didn't know that. He do that this weekend?
Yeah, he done it for the last part of last week. That's going to be a big loss.
Well, he's another Ray Guy type guy. He was Ray Guy's top kicker. That's where he learned how to kick.
At his camp, you're exactly right. And how many times in his career has he flipped the field for Alabama and set up the offense with the defense and all that? Coach Bryant always said, if you have a strong kicking game and a strong defense, you can win some ball games.
That's right. Keep people backed up, and make them drive the length of the field. You know what a lot of people say about that. Make them drive the length of the field. That means, you drive length of the field 10, 11, 12, 13 plays, you're going to make a mistake somewhere along the line.
That's exactly
You know what
right.
I'm saying? And that, make them drive the long.
You start out on your own 10-yard line.
That's right.
You got to go 90
Your
yards.
chances are much greater of making a mistake and turning the ball over.
Exactly right. And listen, one other thing, and I'll have to go, and I'll let you
Don't go, man. I'm enjoying it.
To me, the Super Bowl this year is going to be another dud. I cannot believe that we've got a New England-Philadelphia Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And of course, Brady, I've had a lot of favorite quarterbacks, and of course I reckon it started with Namath, and then Stabler, and then of course Bart Starr, and then Steve Sloan, and Favre, and all those some of those great quarterbacks. But Brady, I tell you, it's hard to say he's not the best ever.
I tend to agree with you. And I feel like they won't have any trouble with Philadelphia. I just feel that way. Philadelphia pretty well handled Minnesota, but Minnesota got in the championship of the NFC on a wing and a prayer when they beat Atlanta on the last play.
Exactly. Beat New Orleans, yeah.
And I just felt like, this year is going to be another dud. And I may be totally wrong.
But, I tell you something that Philadelphia does pretty well. They'll get after you on defense, man. They get
after you on defense. And look, Nick Foles has had one heck of a...
Yeah, he has. And you know what? He was doing a pretty good job until they went ahead and drafted this guy. He was doing pretty good. Drafting the Wirtz guy,
Right, exactly right. But I just want to throw that at you. I hate that Scott's going to leave, but you got to have a sound kicking game. And
I know this. I hope they can find a place kicker, somebody that they can believe in. I know this guy's stats were not bad, but I mean, anybody can kick them inside the 25-yard line. Bud, you could do that.
Is he a junior or a senior?
You talking about the kicker?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm afraid he might be I'm afraid he might be a junior.
I think he's got one more season, but we need to. With Scott leaving, we need to.
They can go down here to Goshen and get him a field goal kicker, a lot better than this guy. I tell you.
Absolutely. I'm looking over the internet this weekend, and I'll write more of it down and let you know later on in the week. But a lot of several high school seniors and juniors in 2A football made All-State this season on the All-State team, and I'll get a list of the local guys that made it.
That'd be great. I'd like to hear that. And that's quite an accomplishment to make an All-State team.
From Luverne and Goshen and Arrington and those type places to make 2A All-State, and that's quite an accomplishment. Even to be honorable mention.
That's right.
That's something to be proud of.
Hey, listen, Merle Sport was all Luverne for 5 years in a row, all Luverne.
Right.
Merle Sport, he was all Luverne.
That's exactly right. Listen, I don't know how, and I think you might have mentioned it when you were on for a few hours last week. How did the concert that Merle and them put on?
Oh, well, I tell you what, the concert was outstanding, but nobody came. It was poorly. What I'm saying, they didn't promote it until late, but the actual concert, Bud, was as good as you could have found. The setting there at the old Sartain Hall was a perfect place to have it. Everything was great except the one with about 100 people there.
Yeah. Well, like you said, Merle he can't wait a day or two before. He needs to go ahead and do that a month.
Well, another thing, what he should have done was the most popular group of that bunch was the park band. He should have had the park band at the end because they would have drawn a big crowd just themselves,
right. That's right. You hold your big axe to the end.
And he'll know better next time,
He will.
I love old Mark. I like him. He's a promoter, man. I like him.
Oh, he's definitely a politician.
I know this, Bud. He likes you, Bud. He likes you a lot.
Well, I think a lot of Merle and his family, and like I told you that day he was there on the show, I've been knowing Merle for years.
Yeah.
From my days at Highland Home and then coming down to Luverne, and he's just a class act, as most coaches and people in this area are. They just, you got to. The thing that makes your program so good is you've got to get out and promote your youth program.
Yeah, no question.
That's what bothers me about these high school coaches. And I know they got things to do on the weekend, but if they just get out and go watch, especially your Pee Wee and Little League baseball and football games, if you get out and see what you got coming up, but you hardly ever see a head coach at a Pee Wee or a Dixie Youth baseball game, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah, well,
Coach Daniel, he built this youth program. He run the parks. He was there at every event during the summer because he knew what was in store down the line.
No question about it. And that old saying about, they were born with a Luverne High School football a helmet in his cradle, or a Pike County high school football helmet in his cradle. Hey, that's really a true statement. The great programs, that they can't. I mean, when they're born, they put a helmet in their on top of their tricycle.
That's right. But here's another thing that we've talked about. I've talked about with several quarterback club members and former coaches here at Luverne. There is not anyone on the Luverne staff. Now I'm talking football. There's not anyone on the Luverne staff that lives in the town of Luverne.
Now that's not good either. I agree with you.
Exactly right. They all drive from either Greenville, Montgomery, wherever to come to Luverne, and that deteriorates your school pride.
You know how to, if I was a superintendent, and my head football coach would definitely live in that community.
Well, there's another problem in this county, and I'm not here to politic, but I've been around youth sports and coaching football, and been around high school football since I was in the first grade in 1965. You got a superintendent in this county that does not care about the county school system, does not care about the athlete, does not care much about the student. Let me tell you why I say that. We got a superintendent that drives in from Troy, Alabama, who sends his kids, they keep them at home and homeschool them. Now, Coach, that ain't right.
Well, you're exactly right. If I was superintendent of education, I sure wouldn't homeschool my children. You're exactly right.
I would put them somewhere in the county that I'm.
They would be. Hey, listen, you're right. They'd be in the county, exactly. They'd be wherever I was working for. I'll tell you that. No question.
Exactly right. But since Coach Randy Wilkes has left, and Coach Wilkes was a principal at Highland Home for years, and then he transferred to. He got elected as superintendent.
That's right.
And had a lot of involvement there in Luverne and all the county schools. But when he left Luverne, there went any connection we had as far as discipline and as far as school pride within every school in the county. Everybody looks for an 8 to 3 job, looks for a payday, and that's it. And that's what's wrong with our school
your
system.
superintendent, though, was born and raised in Elba, wasn't he?
Who's that?
Your superintendent was born and raised in Elba, wasn't he?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, but now, so you know, there's no reason why he can't live in Luverne, is it?
I don't mind him living in Luverne
In Troy, yeah.
Troy to Luverne, if he, I don't know. I guess it's just a rub that I've got because I guess I'm old school.
Yeah.
But, I just don't. I just can't see it.
Yeah.
I just don't see where it benefits your school, your pride, your community, or whatever with someone with those type thoughts and ideas.
I got a guy coming on my show right now, Bud, that you're preaching to the choir when you're talking about the way you're talking right now, because you're right. Unity and oneness means everything in a community, and that starts at your school system. It starts in your mayor's office. You talk about oneness. How can you develop oneness if you're not playing in the same on the same team?
You got to have everybody on the same page.
That's right, no question.
Everybody on the same page.
And I know, and like your superintendent, don't get me wrong, I've known him a long time, and I like him, and but you're right. Don't homeschool. If you're the superintendent, don't homeschool your kids.
And like I said, Coach, I'm not talking about him. It's just some facts that's out there, and that's.
Unless there's some real reasons for it. It might be some real reasons we don't know, too.
That we don't know about, but it just gives off a bad influence, a bad reflection of, no matter what the reason is, it just gives off a bad reflection.
But before you leave there, I've got a guy, Reuben, well, we don't call him Reuben, but Lawrence Bowden. Lawrence Bowden's on our show, and he's the example or the epitome of what a community leader is. I mean, he's a guy that's involved in everything that's good for Brundage, Alabama, and he's the guy that started the We Piddle Around Theater. He had a lot to do with a lot of the celebrations like the 4th of July. Also. He's been involved with the Peanut Butter Festival. He's been involved with everything that's good for Luverne, he just got through wearing a robe and walking in with a mule for the 12th day of Christmas. I mean, he's involved in everything.
Well, that's great.
But what I'm saying, everybody needs people like this in their community.
Absolutely. We need more of that in our communities and statewide. And you're right. And I'm going to say one thing, and I'll let you get back to your program. If you want to have a successful community and a community that comes together, you get a football program that starts winning every Friday night, and everybody will come together.
You know, it does. You know, I would think, you know, you look at Elba and look at the places, you know, just in your surrounding area, and now look at Goshen. You know, they're starting to look what it did for them, and of course, you know, Luverne's got a great program, you know, over the years, and Coach Riles has done a super job with their program.
Absolutely. And, but you start winning some football games, and you get folks in the stands, you generate income and money for that school, then you can do some things.
I always said this: hey, they'll bring their mama, their daddy, their brother, their sister, their cousins, their aunts, and their uncles, and all of them will brag about their kinfolks are playing on that team.
You're exactly right, Mike. Let me go. Nice meeting you.
Hey, Bud, call us tomorrow, Bud.
Have a great day, and I'll call you tomorrow, Mike.
We look forward to it, man. Take care.
All
right, we got another call coming in here. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Morning.
Mike Amos calling in from Birmingham. I got one of my all-time favorite customers, Mike, on my show today. And, of course, Brother Bowden has been around a long time working for folks in in Brundage, Alabama. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I've had a pleasure of talking to him many times. Is it the Pike?
Pike Pillow Round Theater, yeah.
Around.
But what we're talking about this right now is the Storytelling Festival, Mike, which has become known nationwide.
That's right. Yeah, I saw an article about it on in the Dothan Eagle the other day.
You know, you'd be a good storyteller. Oh, Bud would be a good storyteller, wouldn't he?
Absolutely.
Well,
everybody's got a story to tell.
That's right. Everybody's got a story to tell. I was born a little boy on 213 Orion Street. And let me tell you this, I'm as proud as I can be, whether or not I was a rich kid or a poor kid. I was proud because I was a young man that grew up in Troy, Alabama, a town I love and a town I believe in and people I love. And of course, it's all about being proud of who you are and where you're from. Isn't that right, man?
Is there ever a time in your life that you thought Troy would be shut down for 3 days? You couldn't get to the studio because of ice?
That was unreal. Hey, and you know what? I came. You know, people say, well, gosh, they used to hear me complain about coming down the hill on ice. Well, I got up and I fought the ice, and when I got here, I couldn't even walk to the door because there was so much ice. But you know what? I was the only guy around. I came in here and I sat here and I said, I found out that the insurance folks said, hey, you're not going on that premises until by noon the next day because it was ice everywhere. And I was lucky I didn't bust my butt, Mike. Excuse my language. But I think everybody knows what.
I was amazed. You know, we had all these huge snow fronts coming through Birmingham. We barely got a dusting, and then Troy and Pike County gets around 3.5, 4 inches. So
I didn't ask you. Did y'all get much in Brundage?
Yeah, we got about the same amount you got in Troy.
Will Matthews on that show the day before said, "Well, no way in the world Ozark's gonna get any snow," but they did.
Yeah, they got him something far down as Andalusia.
Oh yeah,
son lives there.
Exactly.
They got some in Sampson.
But you know what? The guy we were worried about was Michael. We were worried about Michael being snowed in, and he lives up on a hill. And I said, park your car down at the bottom of the hill so you won't be able to get down and be able to utilize your car and all that. And they didn't even get any snow. Isn't that right?
I mean, we got like literally less than a dusting. Like Tuscaloosa looked like it was getting a lot of snow because I was watching it on television, but then once it got to Birmingham, it kind of just tapered off and went south. So.
Yeah. Well, I tell you,
in December we got about 5 inches, though.
It was amazing. I'm going to tell you, Troy got a good snow. They really did. And, of course, it stayed on. You know, there was a little snow in my yard when I got home yesterday, Mike. that if it was in a shady place,
In the shade,
you know,
yeah.
in a shady place, and I saw quite a bit between Pine Level and Troy, so that's where a lot of the snow came. When I drove to Birmingham, there were still some bad icy places, but thank goodness thousands of cars had already gone over it, you know. But it could have been really rough if you had been one of the first people out there on that highway. Of course, you've traveled all your life, this whole community, and you've seen it all. But you've gone a lot of disasters. But have you gone to many ice disasters?
Well, we've had a few.
Let me get that. Keep talking.
Okay, we've had a few, but they spaced a good deal apart. Just talking about the bands of snow and how far north. I've forgotten what year it was, but we had a real hard snow south in Brundage. We had it from above the curbs and everything.
Yeah.
And at that same time, it quit just above Montgomery. There wasn't any at all just above Montgomery.
That's right,
so
yeah.
we had a band through here that was like that.
When I first started working in state government, this was around 71, 72, maybe 73, around 73. There was a tremendous snowstorm between Troy and Montgomery.
Right.
And you could not drive down 231.
Right.
I mean, 231 was blocked, and finally they got one lane open. Well, I was trying to get home and couldn't. I got snowed in. Me and Jimmy Lunsford both rode together, and the former mayor, and we got snowed in. And a bunch of folks had a party and got in trouble, whatever. but we got snowed in. But when we got to Troy, you couldn't budge. I mean, it was 10 or 12 inches of snow. Do you remember that snow?
I do. Yeah, I remember that.
And of course, you know, you worked with the Emergency Management Agency for all those years. You know, that becomes pretty, when you can't move, you can't get your ambulances places, you can't get your fire truck places. It's pretty tough, isn't it?
I had that experience, and it's really tough where you emergencies like hospital and stuff to get the nurses and doctors and stuff in and so
Mike,
forth.
we just happened to have one of the experts in disasters in the state of Alabama on our show today, but he's here to talk about storytelling. But I can't. Every time you're on the show, we end up talking about some kind of disaster that you went to.
Well, we do, because I did it for so many years, but when we're not really equipped to handle that sort of stuff down here in this part of the world, you know.
Oh, I
Because
know.
we're not accustomed to it, and we can't afford to spend the money to get the equipment. and
Yeah, that's
everything
right,
we
yeah.
need, And so it's really rough. I can remember when I forgot now sometime around '94, sometime along about then, that the city of Birmingham was completely shut down. You couldn't get anything.
Do you
on the
remember that,
streets.
Mike?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't living there. I mean, I was living in Troy, but
I remember, and you know, and,
they couldn't get out for 3 or 4 days.
yeah. I'll tell you the saddest thing that maybe has ever happened to an area that really you know, was fairly modernized is Puerto Rico. I mean, they are in terrible shape.
Still
They
are.
haven't had
Still are.
electricity. We're talking about to the, you know, real nice areas of town. I mean, no electricity.
Well, you
For
know,
all
Alabama
that
Power
time.
sent, you know, I think 100 guys down there. I think earlier this week they're going to be down there through March. So Alabama Power is going to help out and try to get power up back down there.
Yeah, but it's something.
Well, the timing was kind of bad because we were still reeling
That's right.
from the hurricanes here in the United States.
That's
And,
right, over in,
and-
in San Antonio.
Yeah, and so we couldn't exactly turn loose the crews and everything to get over there
Yeah.
early. But I'm glad to see that organizations like the Alabama Power Company, they know how to get stuff done.
Yeah, no question about it. In the talking about bad weather and really creating havoc was, you know, the bad storms we had in Texas. But somebody said this: they lost how many thousand cars did they lose, Mike?
I can't remember. I mean, it was like a shortage for certain vehicles.
I mean, it was just over 100,000 cars were destroyed in that storm.
Well,
Maybe
the water-
more than that. Maybe more than that.
Well, when you have a lot of flooding with hurricanes
Yeah.
sometimes, and you did with that one, and the water rises, and you can't get the cars
That's
out,
right.
they're just there.
You know, hey, it might have been 1 million cars. It's
That's a lot of
crazy.
cars.
Well, I had Jim Jackson on, but you know, when the water goes over, what can you do? You know.
That's so you can't move them.
You know, it's gonna get in that garage. You can shut your garage, but it's gonna get in there. You know.
Well, you'll remember
you
this.
you never know what's going to happen. I left my house one day in Birmingham months ago, and I thought all the bad weather had gone through, and I got caught on a hailstorm in Mountain Brook, and I mean, there's several thousands of people in Birmingham that had tremendous hail damage just from a front that came through. I mean, there was golf ball.
Oh yeah, that'll
Almost
put
baseball
and
size
coming
hail.
from
I
that
got
from
the
from
dents in my
from
car
that
free.
high, they hit you in the head. It
It
seemed
was
like it would
fine.
hurt you, doesn't it?
Well, it would hurt.
And I'm wondering how many people.
Oh,
you
I
know,
stopped the car to try to let somebody in my car that was jogging. I mean, she was literally just getting pelted.
I know it could have gotten hurt bad, and
Yeah.
of course.
But you're talking about automobiles. You remember from your experience in Elba, you know, the automobiles
Yeah.
on the lots, new ones and used and everything
Exactly.
else. That water just rushed in there, and they had no opportunity
Yeah.
to move them or anything.
Yeah.
They just were flooded.
Let me
Water
tell
over
you,
the top.
Mike, something that was that this made me think of. This past summer, there was some a real bad tornado alert, and it was right here on top of Troy, right here on top of the campus. Well, I've never heard of this before, but it made all the sense in the world. We had about 5 or 6, well, it was maybe 10 people over at Alumni House, and one girl said, "Grab a book," and they grabbed a book and they put the book over their heads. That was hard. You know, it was like a yearbook or something like that, something sort of hard. And that really what made sense. They put the book on their head. Mike, you ever heard of that? They went to the middle of the house and sat down on the floor and put the book over their head, because that's what you
I've heard
don't
of
want to
people
get
grabbing
hurt.
football helmets and stuff.
And yeah, and football helmets too. You're right.
Yeah, anything would protect your head, you know, from flying debris.
And that's what happened in Tuscaloosa when I was living there, you know, in 2011 when the horrible.
Yeah, Michael was living there when they had the bad storm.
That was real bad.
I mean, everybody, you know, literally got underneath, you know, to their safe place, and literally by the time they came back up, you know, it was just open air. I mean, everything was gone.
Michael,
That still is the miracle of all miracles. I didn't hit.
Michael, that's what I was fixing to say.
CH, and I mean, it could have been thousands of people. It also been knocked down the hospital. I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I know, it just missed the hospital and the big shopping center there too. But also
Well,
exactly,
it hit several shopping centers.
it missed your apartment by how many feet? Not yards, but feet.
I mean, it hit parts of my apartment. I mean, the second floors were gone. My condos I was living in at the time off 15th Street.
But if you'd been there, you could have been killed. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. There was a Sherman-Williams paint store right next to where I lived, probably 20 yards away, that was evaporated. I mean, it was just
of course,
amazing, you know, what stayed and what didn't stay.
And one of the saddest,
my car and everything would have been just, you know, total beyond belief.
one of the saddest things that and I can't believe we got off on this subject. One of the saddest things, though, that I've ever heard of in a storm like that was a football player at Alabama, all SEC center, wasn't
You know,
he? Or snapper, he's a snapper. He and his girlfriend were in a closet. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and he was holding her.
And he was holding her, and he lost her, and you know she was blown several
Well,
feet.
they both got blown away. He got blown out to a field, and she got blown out to a
and
field.
she-
But I think
she
she was in
died.
a tree.
But it's just,
His name was Carson Tinker.
That's
He still
right,
plays
yeah.
for Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a
Yeah.
snapper.
There's no predicting,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
what'll happen in the storms like that.
And of course, you've
it's
been
so
around it,
velocity and everything.
yeah.
It's, you know, some miracles happen.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about the awful conditions there, but some miracles happen
Yeah.
also. I mean, everything's blown away.
oh yeah,
Baby,
you're exactly
you know.
right. Isn't it
Well,
amazing?
yeah.
You're hearing of a baby being blown for
Yeah.
yards, you know.
Out from Ayrton, Alabama, down there was a young mother. The storm had rolled in, and she was sitting on a couch in her mobile home and holding her baby in her arms. And the tornado hit the trailer, and when the shock was over with, she couldn't find her baby. Her baby was
Yeah.
snatched out of her arms. And so people rushed in, you know, as soon as they heard, started looking everywhere for the baby, and finally somebody heard it crying sitting up in the pasture.
Isn't
And
that
they
unreal?
went up there, and it didn't have a scratch on it. It was just
I guarantee you,
sitting up
they could hear. Hey, your little daughter Molly. I promise you, they could hear her that far away. Isn't that right, Mike?
I mean, Millie.
Millie, I mean, what I call her, Molly, Millie. Talking.
How upset were you at that Troy basketball game?
Oh, I
that.
tell you, it was not good. Troy,
And how in the world do you blow a 14-point lead? Alabama blew a 19-point
Yeah.
lead against Mississippi State. Of course, they held on, but
yeah.
Cliff Ellis has won over about 650 games, and that had to be one of his most satisfying wins.
Mike,
ever.
I want to say he's won 800 games.
Well, maybe, yeah. They might have won
Doesn't
more
that
than
sound,
that.
doesn't that sound crazy? Yeah. And Mike, I bet there was 100 people there to watch him, and half of them were from Troy. He had a lot of Troy friends.
I couldn't believe that they shut Person down like that. I mean, it was like Person wanted him on the court.
You know why though? They tried to get it into Bernardo every time. They just didn't. They didn't try to get it to him.
A guy like that needs to be shooting the ball more. He only had
yeah.
2 shots in the second half.
You're exactly right. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Lawrence Bowden on our show, and of course, one of my favorite people on this earth. I'm telling you, he's a great friend of mine.
Thank you.
And of course, you jump from one thing to the other. Of course, you were one of the ones that founded the We Piddle Around Theater in downtown Brundage. And
Well,
of course,
yes, I was fortunate enough to be one of the people who helped get it started. I was one of the charter cast members.
yeah,
And,
and
we've enjoyed every
along with a
performance.
great one, you'd have to throw her in.
Oh yes, of course, it was full credit to Jane Treadwell.
Yeah.
Jane Treadwell is the one who really got us started. She was the one that said to me, "We can do that." We'd been to Georgia to the big play they have over there, and she said, "We can do that in Brundage." And I said, "Oh, Jane, we don't have anybody can get up on the stage and do things
Yeah.
like that." But she was persistent, and turned out that we've been doing it now for 16 years, and it's still going.
It's amazing. And one of the best folklore theater programs in the whole country, and people coming in from all over the places. And I wish that they let y'all film that and put it on film, have a weekly show or something, you know.
Well, if you film it, then people don't have to buy a ticket to
That's
see it.
right.
You know?
That's exactly right.
That doesn't work out too good for us.
No question about it.
We don't
Now-
make any profit off the show. I mean,
Yeah.
none of us get paid anything for doing it. The only person who gets any money from it is who does our directing, and we pay them a little bit because they're there so much
Spend a lot of
for
time,
practicing
yeah.
and everything. But, nobody gets any money out of it, but it takes a lot of money to make it run. We have to pay expenses
Yeah.
and everything.
Of course, like I said, he jumped from one event to another, and this event is another event that Janie was up in Tennessee and heard some storytellers. Is that right?
Absolutely. She's been a person who really liked storytelling for a number of years, and about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years ago that she again said, you know, we ought to have some storytellers come to Brundage, and so those of us were skeptical, but we hung in there with her.
Now you believe anything she says, is that right?
So it's coming up again. The Pike Peddler Storytelling Festival is this weekend. And
It's this weekend.
Yes, it's coming the weekend, yes. It's going to be Friday night and all day Saturday. Now, Friday night tickets are already sold out.
Yeah.
Friday night is the night we go to the theater in Brundage and we have a meal,
Yeah.
you know, just like we do when we have the play. And the storytellers, we have 4 storytellers that are coming, and they each will tell their story, or stories, for about 30 minutes or so. And and they'll eat supper Friday night, and then Saturday morning we start over again at the Trojan Center here in
And
Troy.
let me tell you, the city of Troy, not only the city of Troy and Pike County, all will benefit from this because thousands of people from outside the city will be here for this event, and because it's become such a popular event every year. People mark that on the calendar, don't they?
They do, absolutely. We have people coming from Atlanta and from Birmingham and places like that, and we have some regular people that are coming.
Sure.
And I remember, I think it was last year that these folks came. They drove down and spent the night from Atlanta, and they went to Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday night, all performances.
Well, I've done that before too, and I never get tired of it. Now, tell us a little bit about your storytelling. One of them is what I call the bell cow, the leader of all.
Well, we have Donald Davis who's come.
Yeah.
Donald Davis, when we first started, Jane had met him in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And
Named Donald Davis.
She called him, Donald Davis,
Yeah.
and asked him if he would be able to come to our first series of performances. And he said, "No, I can't come." He said, "I'm
Yeah,
tied up."
Brundage, Alabama. Hey,
Yeah.
man, I'm big at
But
that.
she
Yeah.
kept talking to him, and he finally said, "Well, to help y'all get started, let me see if I can adjust my schedule." And he did. He came, and he's been to every performance. He says that this is one of the best venues that he plays, and he plays all over the United States. And he's a retired Methodist minister.
Yeah.
And he is just great.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? And if you know, like you said, he's a retired Methodist minister, and he's been storytelling for years.
Right.
But just the expressions on his face will make you laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, just the way he'll grab his suspenders, or just the way he will look at you. I mean, that right there alone. If you want to laugh and enjoy yourself, you know, I love Andy Griffin. I watched 10 episodes in a row the other day, and they ran more than that. But the Honeymooners, you know, some of these great shows. That's what the way I look at the storytellers. I mean, all of them are so entertaining and make you feel good and make you laugh. And everybody needs to laugh and enjoy themselves. And it's a wonderful thing y'all brought to Troy.
Well, we couldn't accommodate the crowds in Brundage at the theater. We can only seat about 100. So a storytelling festival, we can only seat about 120 people. It's a great place to have it, but we just can't seat enough people to make it where we can pay the storytellers. Storytellers get paid a pretty good bit of money, and so we moved it up here. It's been very, very successful in conjunction with.
And it's a wonderful theater. I mean, the theater, it was almost like the theater was built for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody, the seats are like this, and the storytellers are down front, and you feel like you're right there with them. You're almost on stage.
And I want to say, you don't even need, do you need a live mic? Do you need that?
Well, it's better to have it, yes, but you can get along without it.
But the acoustics are so good in that.
They are, and the whole thing, you feel like you're just right there with them on stage. And we have, along with Donald Davis, he's been back every time Donald Davis has, and also now you're talking about how funny they are, but they also have some sad times, you know, almost bring tears.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
These people catch you up in the story they're telling, and you right there with them. I mean, it's amazing how much they can influence you emotionally with their stories they're telling. And Donald Davis can do that. He's got all kinds of stories. And
see, you're right. It's not just one story. I mean, you never hear one of them say the same story. You know, while they're here, there's always a different story.
I've heard Donald Davis now for the Friday night and the 3 times on Saturday, and they tell a different story each time. They don't tell the same story. They tell a different story. But I've heard Donald Davis now for almost 10 years, every performance he's done, and only once have I heard him tell the same story, and he did that by request. And it's one of the funniest things that I've ever heard is about his trip into the Grand Canyon. And you just sit there and you just double over laughing. But
I told somebody recently that he was going to go to Las Vegas this morning. And he told me he's going to go out and see the big dam. I said, well, you need to do that. You know, I've been out there to see the big dam. And he said, when we thought about maybe going to the Grand Canyon, I said, listen, I drove one day to the Grand Canyon from, I was out there in Salt Lake City to a meeting, and we drove to the Grand Canyon 2 hours and drove back, and all you saw was desert, 2 hours, and drove back in 2 hours. When we got to the Grand Canyon, drove 2 hours to the Grand Canyon, we stopped and we started looking, and there was this big, beautiful canyon. It was just big and beautiful, and then I looked back and 15 minutes, I was ready to go home. and on my way home, I said, well, I've seen that, and I've done that, so I'm through with seeing the Grand Canyon.
You're not going to get me going down those trails.
The fun thing about it, the fun things about it are the tours, and I didn't take a tour.
No, I'm not going down in there. Those trails, just wide enough for a mule to walk down, you know. But these storytellers, we have 4 coming. We got Don Davis, of course, coming back. And he loves to come now. He loves to be here with us, and we love to have him. And then we got Josh Goforth. He's a great entertainer. He's been here before too, and he's a great entertainer, young man. Then we got Tim Lowry, and then we got Elizabeth Ellis. We haven't had Elizabeth Ellis before, so we're looking forward to hearing her.
That's great. Yeah.
But these others, and like I say, they tell different stories. It's not the same, but they can pick you up and take you to where you got tears running out of your eyes, as well as double over laughing. So
and back to Donald Davis, he might be one of the top 10 best storytellers in the world. And the reason I'm saying top 10, he might be number 1. I mean, the guy is unreal. But what he carries with him he's not just a storyteller. He's a showman, and he's got class.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he looks like an old Southern lawyer, and
That's
he
right.
and he speaks very distinguished, good Southern distinction, and what I'm saying, these other three to go with Donald Davis, you're in for a wonderful night at the Storytelling Festival.
Well, if you, we've still got some tickets for Saturday. The Friday
Yeah.
night sold out.
Yeah.
But we still got some tickets for Saturday. You can call Kathy Steed in Brundage and get your tickets. We've still got several left for the night show. I don't know how many we got left for the morning and the afternoon, but we got several left, and it's a little bit difficult, I know, for people to pick up on numbers when you tell them.
Yeah.
But the number to call Kathy is 344 9427. 9427. 344 9427. And Kathy will be glad to pick you up with tickets. Listen, the entertainment, we have a pre-show, and we have really good entertainment for 30 minutes before the storytellers come on.
Oh yeah.
And we've got the Minton Brothers. Most of you have heard of Minton Brothers as a
Yeah.
company. They're really good. And then we've also got the Lighthouse String Ensemble. I know most of you have heard them, and they always good.
Yeah.
And we've got the Hendersons coming.
Sure.
The Hendersons are good. So you won't hear the same pre-show music either. For different shows we have on Saturday, we have these three different groups that'll be entertaining you for 30 minutes before they. It's worth the price of the ticket to hear the pre-show.
Exactly. How much are the tickets again?
The tickets in the morning are $10. The tickets in the afternoon are $15, and the tickets at night are $10.
All right, now if you want to make it, could you buy a ticket for all three?
Yes, you can buy a ticket for all three, and it's listen, I go. Of course, I help with
Yeah, sure,
sick
yeah.
people and so forth, but we have people that come. They're there at 9:30, so the show starts at 10. But 9:30 is the pre-show. It's 30 minutes before the show starts.
All right,
And,
go ahead.
And I've been there and thoroughly enjoyed it. I could sit there all day long.
I could too.
It's really good. You run downstairs to the food court, get me a sandwich.
Yeah,
Or
and tell
sometimes
you
we'll come
something-
out to a place. But
And tell you, that's what I was going to bring up. And the food court has changed tremendously. They've now got a full-fledged steak and shake. You know, that famous same steak and shake you see out on the bypasses and in all the big cities. We've got a full-fledged steak and shake with the great hamburgers and the milkshakes and the hot dogs, and it is a wonderful place to eat. Now Chick-fil-A is full-service Chick-fil-A. You know, it was just a part of what they just offered. You know, about half the products. Now they offer everything. Full-fledged Chick-fil-A, and also they've got a Chinese restaurant that is out of sight. This is all at the food court. So in between the shows, you can eat at the food court or get a cup of coffee or a milkshake or
that's right,
whatever.
right downstairs there, and that's real handy.
They'll have bagels. They'll have breakfast foods. You know, Chick-fil-A will serve that in the morning. You know, if you wanted to have breakfast foods in the morning, you know.
But we have people coming from some distance that spend the night in Troy, the motels.
Yeah, sure.
And then at lunchtime, there's too many people there to everybody go down to the food court, so they spread out across town and eat at different
That's
places.
right.
And we're real pleased with the support we get from Troy and from the Troy University. I mean, Troy University is just really good to
Well,
us.
they ought to jump up and down about it because this is a nationally renowned festival. You know.
It is. It's gotten so well known. Like I say, we have people that come every year, and they buy tickets for all day long.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this now, and I think I'm right. Once y'all shut the doors, you shut the doors. Is that right? Or
Well,
will you let people come in late?
Well, it's very difficult. As much as we like the auditorium, it's very difficult to seat people once you get started.
Yeah.
Now, we seat you during the pre-show.
Yeah.
When the music and the singing and everything going on, we still seat you, but we don't like to seat you. And most people are there anyway because it's so difficult to get back in the center,
Exactly,
you know, to a seat. So it's very difficult to seat people. We try to help them get right back to the back end back there, but everybody needs to be there on time. You're missing it if you're not there 30 minutes before the show.
No
There's a
question.
show in the morning. There's at 10 o'clock. You need to be there at 9:30, checked in your seat. In the afternoon, you need to be 30 minutes early. The show starts at, let's see,
10 o'clock, 10:15. What is it?
10 o'clock, and when they start, but you need to be there at 9:30, and it starts at 2 o'clock on the afternoon. You need to be there at 1:30, and then it starts at 6:30 at night. You need to be there at 6 o'clock.
And it's
like I
first
say,
class.
the pre-show is worth the price of the
exactly.
ticket.
And of course, it's one of these places. Take your wife out to dinner, take her to the food court, and
That's right.
or your partner, and you and just come on in and buy your tickets. Come on in for one presentation, or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Now I like to go to the Saturday one, and I because
Well, let me tell you, I apologize to you, but I got you 2 tickets for
Well,
Saturday night.
all right.
But I left them on the mantle, but I'll bring them.
all
I'll
right,
leave them at
well
the
I'll
office
get
here.
okay. I appreciate it very
Saturday
much.
night. Now don't
Exactly.
don't-
I'm not gonna forget it.
Okay,
I'm
don't
not
start
forget it.
anything else for to go to.
Exactly. And like you said, the Donald Davis deal is, I mean, if it was just him, it would be great. But it's great because you got 4 professionals.
If you, any one of these people are well worth the money just
Yeah.
to give the one person. But Donald Davis, let's say in the morning, it's $10 for the whole show, the pre-show and all 4 of them. But if you didn't do anything but
Yeah.
go and hear Donald Davis for your
I
$10 and get up and go home, it'd be $10 well spent.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, it's
Exactly.
well worth it.
And what I'm saying is, you relax. It's such a cozy atmosphere. It's a wonderful theater. And of course, this theater is located at the Trojan Center. Now that's formerly the Adams Center, which I still call it. And of course, it's the Adams Center Theater, which is located upstairs. You have to go upstairs to the where the a lot of people call it the you have a big theater, and then you move on down to the auditorium.
Also, at this particular theater, the Trojan Center there, when you're coming in the front door, if you look to your left, there's a door. You have to look real close.
Yeah, that's right.
About 30 or 40 feet to your left, there's an entrance that brings you in at the bottom of the theater.
Oh, it
at
does?
the stage level. And if you have trouble walking,
See, I
like
did
me, I'm
not
getting
know that.
old, I have trouble walking up and down the steps
Yeah.
without something to hold on to. You can come in that bottom and get a seat right there on the bottom.
Yeah.
You don't have to climb the steps.
I knew it was some kind of exit down there, and you
It
had to be
is,
able to
but
have
we
an
let-
exit.
We open that up,
yeah.
and people who have difficulty
That's
walking
good.
up and down steps can come in there.
Could you
and
get
them up.
wheelchairs in there, or
You only play. You can get a wheelchair by coming upstairs. You have to
Yeah,
come upstairs. And there's
exactly.
space.
There's an elevator.
Yeah, and there's an elevator to bring you upstairs, and
Yeah.
then there's a space at the top or the back of the
Yeah.
theater there where we can wheel your wheelchair in and stay in your wheelchair and see the show.
And let me tell you another great thing. They've got parking now, 500 new parking spaces right out in front. Did you know that? It makes it so much easier now to get to. And parking is much easier because now you've got it where you can just walk into the Trojan
Yeah, into the food court.
yeah,
You just
food
keep
court
on
area,
straight
and then
down.
just catch the elevator or walk
Entrance
up.
way. Yeah, walk up. But you can also park up on the next level.
Yeah.
Up there where you go to the entrance to the theater and also
Exactly.
to the bookstore.
Yeah,
and
that's
everything.
right.
You can
And-
park up there and just walk
That's
straight
right.
in. You don't have to take.
And in
take-
between productions, you've got the Barnes and Nobles.
Yes, you can visit. That's,
And walk through there and buy something nice.
that's an experience. That's going there.
See,
to
and
watch
that's another
students.
positive thing about it. A lot of Troy University paraphernalia you can buy,
Yes,
while you're
like
there
that.
this weekend. But I tell you, we get excited because we both like good entertainment, and this is definitely good entertainment.
Oh, absolutely. I had no experience with storytelling. I'd heard Catherine Tucker Wyndham 100 years ago when up at.
And she was there for many years.
Yeah, she came here, but I had heard her at Huntington College. She was
Yeah.
a graduate of Huntington. I'd heard her up there before, but just a little bit. So
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about storytelling until we started this.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of it. I mean, I really
Exactly.
thoroughly.
When
enjoy
you
it.
were a freshman at the University of Alabama, and that was in what year?
1900, I think.
Tell us the truth.
Well, you talked about my age.
It's-
Folks, I'm really just 52 years old. and
Exactly.
Hanging around with people
That's
like
right.
you makes me feel
I knew him when he
89.
had jet black hair, ladies and gentlemen. But seriously though, when you were a freshman at Alabama or graduating from Alabama, did you ever think about what your community was going to bring you once you went back?
No, I just never even thought about things like that. You know, I was, like every young person, I was looking forward to going somewhere and doing something. I had a great opportunity as soon as I graduated to go into the armed forces, and I went into the Army.
And see, of course, you're retired colonel, is that right?
That's correct.
And
The service was good to me. And,
yeah, exactly. Yes, sir. And they said you were an outstanding officer, but you've worn so many hats. But I just want to who brought all? Of course, Brundage was just a little country town, no different than Troy or no different than Elba, and had great people. Always had good baseball teams and had fairly good football teams over the years, and a lot of good people came out of Brundage, and a lot of them became Kappa Sigs at Alabama.
They did.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you was, wasn't it?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And of course, go tell them what day you graduated from the University of Alabama.
1949.
1949, he graduated from the University of Alabama. I was born in 1947. I wanted you to know I want to be just like you one day. And of course, but somebody opened the book. All right, Brundage was looking for a reason for people to come and visit their community. Isn't that right?
Well, yeah, you know, Brundage, like most small towns, Brundage economy went away. You know, we lost our sawmills and our cotton gins, and as we lost those, then we lost our retail businesses, and travel became easier. People started coming, instead of buying their clothes in Brundage, they bought them in Troy, and then they started going to Montgomery and buying them, and to Dothan. So we lost our retail businesses. We used to have
OK Ramage. What was that?
Yeah, OK Ramage was a big place to buy clothes.
That's
and also
right,
had a grocery store in the back end of it. But
the Ramages had a lot of input in the growth of Brundage.
They did, and of course the bank, the First National Bank, you know, was founded.
That's right. By Mr.
So they've had, the Ramage family has been a big influence there.
Mr. Jim Ramage started that bank.
That's right.
1904, I think.
That's right. So we started. Brundage is like old small towns, and it's right now our retail business is not very good. We're fortunate that we have some income.
Y'all became the antique city.
That's right.
And that was one thing that brought a lot of people in there.
That's right, and it was good foresight.
And the auction, and you still have the auction, don't you?
Still have the auction, antique auction. Yeah.
And how often is that?
Twice a month.
Twice a month, and twice a month more than they used to have it. So
well, no, they had it on a Saturday, and then they had it on a Sunday afternoon.
I got you.
So I think they. Along with it, you know, the antique business sort of went to fluid.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
In 2008.
And you had the sign man that was right down the street. You know.
He's passed on. His wife's still running.
Boy, he was a great guy.
Yeah. But anyway, it's like most small towns. Our retail businesses went away. But fortunately, we had some things that enticed people to come to Brundage. For one thing, in 1948, some of the 4 or 5 men in Brundage had a foresight when it was available to buy our electrical distribution system.
That's right.
And it provided a little income for the city. When most retail taxes.
Troy did the same thing.
Troy did the same thing. Yeah. So it provided you a little income. So through the lean years, they were able to stay afloat. And also one of the big things was they had a little matching money for grants. When grants come along, they had a little matching money. Some towns didn't have any. If you offered them a $250,000
CDBG
grant,
program didn't have the matching money.
If you offered them a $250,000 grant and they put up $25,000, most places didn't have $25,000, so they just had to pass them up. So
I mean, no way in the world would you have been able to get the big Walmart distribution center unless you were able to provide those benefits to the company.
That's exactly right.
A big savings to them, wasn't it?
To get an industry now, you have to really put out, just like recently.
That's right, you got to buy it almost.
Troy, what all the money they putting out.
Did you hear of the last industry just recently that was announced that's going to manufacture guns? But you notice one of the things that they mentioned that enticed them were the low electrical rates because of that one thing you said.
Right.
And I'm sure back then when they bought those rates or did that, they didn't realize how much industry it was going to bring with it.
It seemed like a pretty good deal at the time. They had no idea of the far-reaching effects it would have.
Yeah.
So Brundage, even though compared to Troy, it's just minuscule, you know.
Yeah.
It's the finances and everything, but that's what kept us afloat. And then, like Walmart DC, their tax abatements and everything have finally disappeared, so we're making some good money. But the reason it meant so much to us, Walmart DC, was not the taxes or anything, but the sale of electricity to them.
Yeah.
It doubled the electricity sales in Brundage when Walmart DC came back.
Sure.
But anyway, we've got some money to keep up our infrastructure. That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
And so we can keep up all of our infrastructure, but we're still lacking in retail sales and stuff because, you know.
Infrastructure, streets, water, sewer, roads, whatever.
Right. And the electrical system itself. We've got a good electrical system. Also, one of the things several years ago, Hudson Industry was located in Brundage.
That's right.
They wanted to expand, and they couldn't expand because the city couldn't accommodate them. And one of the reasons was because of the sewage system. To handle all that grease and oil and stuff that comes from that kind of production, you've got to have a really specialized sewage system. Well, they moved to Troy, but the people who were in our city government at the time started thinking ahead. And so they got a grant again, but they had the money to match it with, and they put in a state-of-the-art sewage disposal system in Brundage. Not many small towns have that.
That's right.
A friend of mine from Union Springs asked me 7 or 8 years ago, said, we want one of those food processing plants to come to Union Springs.
Yeah, sure.
Tell us how you do it. I said, well, unless you got the right sewage disposal system, they can't come, because you got to have somebody to handle that.
And just recently, one of the largest in this part of the country has been built right there in Brundage too.
So it's that little income from the electrical sales have really paid off. And classic Foods is a big employer, but they also use a lot of electricity. So it's
vision too. You know, Jimmy Ramage, the mayor, and your council, y'all had a lot of vision.
They did.
You could see it, and hey, you waited a little bit long to get it, but once you got that Walmart distribution center, the rest is history.
Well, we've had some food processing plants there before we got Walmart DC, but they weren't the size of Walmart DC for a small town. But again, the biggest thing from Walmart DC is of course, we like the employment, but not a whole lot of people. They drive from all over the
Sure they
place
do, yeah. It benefits Troy just like it benefits Brundage.
Well, you know, we have people drive from Abbeville to Brundage.
Good salaries too, you know.
Right. And from other small towns around, so it's beneficial to them.
Sure.
But anyway, Brundage, as far as retail businesses struggles, but we do have the income from those big plants that are helping us.
But you know, I went down there Christmas, and you've got a jewelry store as good as any around. I bought several different items down there and was very pleased, and it's still
we do.
You take care of your buildings and everything. Everything looks good, you know.
Yeah. It is.
Well, let's take a short break because we need to get our commercials in. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Here's some Napa know-how for you. Your local Napa Auto Parts store in Troy is under new ownership with an all-new fully stocked store. Big deal, you say? Big deal, we say. Like the ownership, the store has a new look, too. We're still delivering the same Napa quality and know-how, but we've increased our inventory and are committed to helping you find the parts you need when you need them. So come check us out. We've got the right part at the right price at the right time.
Know-how, Napa know-how.
Troy Cable is the leader in smart home security, giving you solutions to monitor, protect, and automate your home. Troy Cable Security keeps your property safe with 24/7 professional monitoring and emergency response. Control thermostats and lighting remotely, which allow options for saving energy and money. Control access to your home remotely with integrated controls for door locks. You can even add our smart home cameras, which allow you to see what you care about instantly. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance.
But no, I don't know. You're pretty darn good, I tell you. To me, Bad Drive Show, and my good friend, ladies and gentlemen, Lawrence Bowden is with us, and of course, long time. Your family was one of the first families that founded Brundage, wasn't it?
It was, yes. My ancestors came out of North Carolina, and they settled. My great-great-great-grandfather settled just outside of Brundage in 1824. So we've been around a long time.
Now, when you put on your seersucker suit and your white bucks on an Easter afternoon, who they think you are?
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. He's a Mark Twain, and like I said, I've known him for so many years, and of course, he became well known throughout the state in working with disaster relief, and we're talking about Brundage and how Brundage over the years has survived by people, members of the community. I mean, nobody knew anything about this storytelling until Janie found out about it and said, let's do it. And there were people that had a little vision, believing in her, and made it happen. And then, of course, we Piddle Around Theater, one of the greatest productions you'll find anywhere if you haven't ever seen one. They have a program during the spring and the fall.
That's right. The spring, when I brought you a notice here.
And y'all be getting ready for the spring soon.
We are. We already started meeting and getting ready for the spring performance. Yeah. It'll be the first and second week in April. Yeah. And the tickets are going on sale around the 1st of March. Yeah. And we'll be getting geared up to put on. Like I say, we've been doing it now for 16 years, and we're going to moving on again.
Has it enhanced the lives of a lot of citizens that would have normally led sort of a boring life if the We Piddle Around Theater ever had not come around? How many years ago?
Well, let's say we've been doing it for 16 years.
16 years. We Piddle Around Theater.
We never thought, and that's doing it twice a year, April and November.
Yeah.
And been doing it for 16 years during those times, and we, yes, it would have made a big difference. I think one of the things I think it made a big difference in all of us. All the crew, the people who make the props and everything.
I'm not trying to make you have to think about them, but some of the people that I know, I've known for years. I mean, I would have never thought that they could get up and sing. I would have never thought they could get up and do a presentation in front of 150 or 200 people.
Well,
but they are very good. They've actually become theater people. Yeah. They're known for their theater activities.
Well, and they see, I said the same thing when Jane said. I said, "Oh, we don't have people who can do that."
Yeah, that's right. But you were a perfect guy to come out at first. Toastmaster or whatever.
None of us are actors or actresses. We just get up there and just.
But
talk.
You are now.
And
for the last 16 years, you are.
We do have some talented people. We have some people who can sing, and we're very fortunate. But they're people. They just live in Brundage.
That preacher you got. I mean, where did he come from? I mean, the Lord put him there, I think, because he has one of the great voices. And when they turn out that lights and that little girl sings "Jesus Loved Me," if you can't get into that, believe you me, you need help. You need help.
Well, you're right.
But I mean, it's so.
But those people are just people of Brundage. They're not anything. The preacher you're talking about is not with us anymore. His health.
Well, I hate that.
And he's not with us anymore.
But he loved doing that, though, didn't he?
Oh, he did. He loved it. He had a tremendous voice, tremendous singing voice.
And then, of course, when they, ladies and gentlemen, it would keep you in stitches. 1 second you're laughing, and 1 second you want to cry.
Yeah.
And it's true stories about people in the Brundage area, that lived in the Brundage area. Yeah. Like the two men that went to the wrong place to sit with the dead. I didn't know about this legendary thing about people that when they died, people would come and sit with the body.
Absolutely, yes.
At somebody's house.
And you didn't leave them there by themselves.
No,
I mean,
and it was at
stayed
somebody's house, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they had their house.
Yeah.
If they could possibly do it.
And to tell you about the story, the two men, they're dressed in their very nice attire and their black suits, and they walk up, and they're just so distinguished, and they walk up and walk in the house, and they sit down, and they sit there for hours with that body. In a minute, a lady comes out in her pajamas and finds them, said, "Who are these people in my house?"
They got in the wrong house. They went to the house next door.
And then there's a segment, and this girl, I don't care if it was in Hollywood, but the beauty parlor scenes.
Yeah, that's
the girl that does the hair, chewing the gum, doing the hair. I believe she would win the role if she was in Hollywood.
Yeah, she's still with us. That's Linda Steed.
Now, I mean, don't you think she's very unique for that?
She is. She's actually a beauty parlor operator. She's done for years.
I'll tell you this, and it gets somber because one couple that were very good in that program got killed in a car wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that right? Is that right?
Yeah. But we've had people.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, they're not here anymore.
People, it has an impact. We've had a lot of young people, children. You know, some of them in there when they...
the little girl that came out singing, "Come On, Miss Supper Time."
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had to write that song. Who wrote that song?
Lenny Traver.
Yeah.
Lenny Traver.
Come Home, Miss Supper Time.
Lenny Traver's a very talented person.
Oh, yeah.
He was with us for several years. And, he finally, as he used to say, when you're not having fun anymore, it's time to quit.
It takes time, though, doesn't it?
Oh, it's very time intensive. It takes a lot of commitment.
And by having a new director most of the time, it changes it up a little bit, doesn't it?
That's right. And we changed scenes. Jane has some different scenes, and we changed, along with changed some scenes and so forth.
But the unreal thing about it all is that barn. There was an old police station that burned down, and they were fixing to tear it down, wasn't they?
Yeah, it was a former city hall. It was a former city hall.
Yeah.
And it was a two-story building built in 1940 by the Works Progress Administration, the WPA, and it had an auditorium upstairs. And it caught on fire and, of course, gutted the building. And
it was right there in the heart of downtown, right there on the corner of Old 231 and Highway 10, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
And so they were going to tear the building down and make a little park on the corner. And Jane Treadwell met with them and insisted that they not do that.
Who was the mayor at that time? Mr. Ramage?
I think it was Robert Barr, I believe.
Yeah. So he had a little vision there, didn't he?
Well, she persuaded him not to do it.
Exactly what I said, yeah.
So they got an engineer to come in and look at the walls. The walls still stand. He said, "Oh, the walls just sound as they can be, and put anything you want to on it." So the city put a roof on it and left it. And when
air conditioning.
When we started it, they didn't even have a floor in it.
That's right. Sawdust, whatever.
No, didn't have any. Didn't have nothing. It was just dirt. Now they'd cleaned out all the stuff, all the wooden stuff in there, and burned and collapsed. And so didn't have the windows in it. And so we asked them if we could use it. And they said yeah, so they stopped up the windows. And
did y'all have the theater program at the time? I mean, you know, the theater, the Come Home.
We were just starting.
The Pike Pillar. Had you started the Pike Pillars Theater at that time?
No, we were in the process of starting. We were meeting at the church.
And you were probably looking and thinking about having where you were going to do it, though, didn't you?
Yes, and then we asked the city if we could use that building, and then they finally put some windows in it and fixed the floor in it and everything and decorated. It's a unique place now, very unique.
Now, they never did pave the flooring. They never did put. They've got the shavings. And it has a very good, the aroma of fresh shavings, and people, the tables are down and they feed you. I mean, the food is outstanding. They do it family style. They'll put the chicken, and I can see somebody picking. Somebody's gonna get stabbed one day trying to get that breast. But of course, the mashed potatoes and the green beans,
peas and turkey.
And then they come out at intermission, ladies and gentlemen, with blackberry cobbler with the vanilla ice cream. But I mean, it is a delightful place to go, and that's why it sells out. The food, I don't know what sells it out the most, the food and the atmosphere or the program itself.
Yeah, we have people, I had a friend of mine that I got him a ticket, 2 tickets, and he and his wife were there. And he was sitting at the end of the table where we walked past to do things and serve and so forth. And he was sitting at the end of the table. And they would serve the food, and he was eating, and I walked by him, and he raised his hand. You know, I'd already spoken to him, everything. He said, "Man," he said, "this is the greatest place the greatest thing I've ever seen." I said, "Well, Eddie," I said, "the show hadn't even started yet." He said, "I know it," but he said, "The food and look at this place," he said, "it's just great."
And then the production moves so well. I mean, you never have a stagnant moment. I mean, it's something going on. I mean, you see somebody talking about snake killing over here, and then this guy singing about picking cotton over here. Another guy that is one of the stars performers. You know, if we piddle around there to put pictures up there, your picture would be there, and of course Frankie Fryer. Was it Frankie or?
No.
But who did this thing? Not Frankie Fryer, but the guy that gets up and sings about Shetlands.
Oh, talks about children. That's Johnny Steed.
Johnny Steed. Now, Johnny Steed. Who would have ever thought Johnny would be in there? Johnny is a theater performer.
Oh, he is.
I mean, he is a. I don't care.
He's one of our stars.
Sure,
Really.
sure, and he's one of the performers. But he didn't know he had this in him. You know.
No, he didn't.
And talking about eating chitlins, and you know, people don't even know who. A lot of these people out there don't know who chitlins are. But it's just a wonderful program. And a lot of
the
other
place you're talking about is the same place that we have the Storytelling Festival on Friday night. But unfortunately, all the tickets are gone, so you can't get a ticket.
And it is hard to get a ticket.
The food is good, just like it is for the play you're talking about.
And for 16 years, y'all pretty much have sold out your theater production too.
Oh, we have. Yeah, it's sold out everything.
And then you come back and you have a special storytelling, and this is what I like, and the chili cook-offs for Christmas. So you'll have a nice
Chili Country Christmas.
Oh man, which is a fabulous time. But what I'm saying is, enhanced the lives of so many people in Brundage.
Well, it has. We've had a lot of people.
Your eyes. You're 80. How old are you?
89.
89 years old, ladies and gentlemen, and his brain is a lot better than anybody's in the room. You are a remarkable guy.
Well, I thank you for that. I don't. It's not anything to do with me, really.
And by the way, listen, I want him to have this tape. We're gonna give you this tape today, and something for you to show to your grandkids. Now you got a granddaughter that was in the play one time. Let me just tell you a little bit about her. It was a Christmas play, and I don't know how she did it, but she came in and she sat down in front of the Christmas tree, and all of this was going on. And in the meantime, she was making paper.
Paper change.
Paper change. She was making paper change.
Like
and ladies and gentlemen, she started off like this, and before it was all over with, she had paper change way out to there. But the whole time, while everybody else was looking, she was making paper change. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I thought that was, and I know you were so proud of her. She sang, well, she just loves me too, didn't she?
Yeah, you know, we have a lot of good stories, but my daughter, her mother, the little girl's mother, was in the play.
Yeah.
And her son was in the play, and I was in the play.
Which was your grandchildren.
That's right, and my wife's in the play.
Sure.
Now, when we were practicing, we'd have to hire a babysitter to stay with the little girl.
Sure,
And something happened, and the lady was keeping her while we were practicing and the play couldn't keep her, so we had to take her to the practice with us. And she thoroughly enjoyed it. She would go with us, and she would just have the best time with everybody. And in the last scene, you know, where all the children get on stage for the church scene.
Yeah.
Then anybody say anything to her after she'd been there for 3 or 4 practices, she just started going up on the stage with the other children who was in the play. She just went up and sat down on the stage.
Oh, I know, yeah.
So she just sort of wormed her way in. And so she started being in it.
And then she started making this change.
And then she had a part. She sang the song, you know,
the
song in the dark there for a while. But she moved away, so she couldn't stay in it. But she moved away, and when she's home, if we're having to play or practicing, she's down there with us. It's
unreal. I tell you what, how old is she now?
She's 16.
Oh man, I tell you, that was really great. Of course, again now the storytelling starts this weekend. Now it's sold out in Brundage on Friday night, but there's still tickets available on Saturday morning. Then in the middle of the afternoon, 2:30 or 3 o'clock?
No, it's at 2 o'clock. You need to be there at 1:30.
Okay.
But you need to call and get your tickets.
That's the second performance.
You need to call ahead of time to get your tickets. Because you can't show up at the door. The tickets will all be gone. They'll be sold.
That's right. Exactly right. Exactly right. All right, let me ask this. When will you turn 90?
In July.
All right, listen, I want you to come on my show that week, and it's going to be This Is Your Life, Lawrence Bowden.
Well, I appreciate that.
I tell you what, you're a great man, and
Thank
we
you.
love you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope, and I know you enjoyed today's show, because I sure did, and I always do when this guy's on our show, and we hope that you'll come out and support this storytelling festival that's coming to Troy, Alabama this weekend at the Trojan Center right here on the Troy campus. So you'll really enjoy it. You want to really tickle people, buy several tickets to this and let them come see this.
It's a wonderful way to entertain your friends.
Wonderful
if
way.
You've got some social obligations and you want to make your friends feel real good, and the tickets like in the morning $10.
Yeah, I know.
$15 for the afternoon, $10 at night. You know, buy you 4 or 5 of them and say,
Exactly
come on,
right.
let's go.
No
let's
question
go get
about it.
entertained.
Hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed our show. We come back on again at 1:30. Then we'll see you bright and early live from our studios here on South Grundy Street today in LA. See you then.